there you have it. This is not the planned labor. They have theirs, well, slated for next week. We don't know if it's going to hold or if the government will intervene before that. But we've been seeing these protests come from different parts of the country. We don't have a face to it. I guess it's also important to note that, because if it's coming from the organized labor, then we say, oh, it's the NLC or the TUC, get the TUC president. But this, it seems, people are hungry. People are frustrated. People want to work. There's no security to do what they want to do. There's no power. There's no naira. So I guess it's time that the government will also get desperate in finding a solution before this gets out of hand. I guess that's really important. Not I guess. I think that's what should be done, because it's staring us in the face. We are all feeling it. Our purchasing power is eroding every day. How much is $1 now? 1,600? 1,700? Anyways, now let's talk to an economist who perhaps can help us delve into this and tell us more about what can be done, what should be done. The Chief Executive Officer of Financial Derivatives Company, Mr. Bismarck Rewane. Mr. Rewane, good morning. We see these protests, and we heard one of them saying there that this is just the beginning, and that is scary, because if this escalates, we do not know how it could be controlled, and that's dangerous for the economy and for everyone.
You said it right, it's dangerous. And it didn't start in one day. There's been an economic deterioration, what we call the economic decay curve. And this has happened and is happening. And what is happening is that as long as people do not see hope, do not feel that there's hope and that there's a solution coming, and they do not believe whatever solutions are being suggested, then they become hopeless. Hopelessness is the beginning of desperation. A desperate man is a dangerous man, and a dangerous man can do anything. So I think it's not anything that is being underestimated. It's only that the administration and policymakers have to understand that this is a very, very, very difficult and dangerous situation. Having said that, let us look at what are the symptoms, what are the causes, and then what are the solutions. The symptoms of this is that the Naira traded yesterday night as low as 1,800, that is 1,800 Naira to $1. And the NAFEM market, it closed at about almost 1,600. The custom duty rate, conversion rate, is about 1,582 Naira. The international air transport, that is IATA ticket rates, was at 1,650 Naira to $1. So these are just indications of what it is. Why is this happening? There's the dollar cash market, and then there's the dollar liquidity market. The dollar liquidity market is where oil flows, investment flows come into the market, and it is used for letters of credit for trade activities. The dollar cash market is one which you and I go and buy from the malams, from the BDCs. What happened in the last couple of days is that the EFCC has been chasing these guys, the BDCs, with the paltry amounts that they have. That has actually helped to drive down the amount of liquidity in the market and make the Naira actually grossly undervalued. In other words, it has made the Naira to lose its value in the market. Two, the central bank issued a guidelines that you can no longer buy cash from the banks. You have to, if you're traveling, you have to have electronic transfers and all of that. That cash amount that people used to buy, they use part of it and they sell part of it, or the part of it goes in the market, has actually reduced supply of dollar cash in the market. So one, chasing the people around. Two, the guidelines. And three, the fact that the dollar, people's expectation that the Naira will continue to deteriorate consistently. So there's expectation, there's actual liquidity crunch, and thirdly, there's the illicit factor. Those are the things that are causing this. Now, how does that feed into inflation? Is it inflation that causes a weak currency, or is it a weak currency that causes inflation? Anyway, who cares about that? The truth is that on one hand, you are buying dollars at 1,800. On the other hand, you are buying cement at 10,000 Naira a bag. Even though cement is all produced domestically, the limestone, everything, but one is having an impact on the other. So that is precisely where we are. What does it mean? It means that there are queues for petrol because of strike, their prices are increasing, and people are under pressure. And you saw it in Niger State, you saw it in Oyo State, You've seen it in Canada, in different places. So people are under pressure, and they want to see some relief, and they want to hear some credible policy moves that will make them feel a little bit hopeful that there's light at the end of the tunnel. I think that's how I can summarize initially what it is.
Yeah, but when we talk about, you talked about giving hope to the people. We've had, a couple of statements talking about the cement yesterday. There was a meeting with stakeholders and the federal government, and I think they agreed on 8,000 naira. But of course, as you would say, this thing cannot be artificial. It's not decreed. You have to deal with the factors that lead to it. But on the other hand, we've also had the president release from the reserve grain. We've had state governors also make declarations and all of that. But people are still desperate. Is there something we are missing here to bring calm to the situation? Because we do know, obviously, the time between the announcement of a policy and the implementation and when the impact will actually spread to the people, there's always a gap there.
Yeah, there's a lag, what we call the lags. No, but the truth is that, one, let us look at the materiality of 100,000 tons. 100,000 tons of grain, wherever it is, if that is available reality, if those grains actually exist in the silos, it's not enough to feed Lagos for 2 days, not talk of feeding Nigeria. It's not going to make a difference, not one hell of a difference, not. So let's stop deceiving ourselves. Let's deal with productivity issues. And you can use the entire police force in Nigeria to break up the supermarkets, to bring them to... Those goods will not... The price of goods are determined by market forces. You cannot create artificial prices. We did this 40 years ago, 50 years ago. It failed then. It will fail again. The reality is that allow the prices of goods be determined, and then supply. When supply increases, price of goods come down. When demand increases, and the demand is a function of the naira liquidity we have. So now there was a treasury bond auction yesterday of 2.5 trillion naira. That is about 3.5% of total money supply. If you take that out of the system, you have actually reduced the amount of money in its circulation. You have also increased interest rates, which has a negative impact on stock prices. The stock market fell by 3.5% yesterday, and it's going to fall again today by at least almost 4 or 5%. So the economy is coming into equilibrium. But let us not deceive ourselves that there's a quick fix for this. Some things are now moving in the right direction, but very, very slowly. What the people want are, let us see the supply of the goods. Let's stop making fake, false promises. 2, let us begin to see that government expenditure and lavish lifestyle of government officials is toned down. First of all, let us be honest with the people. Secondly, let us tone down our lavish lifestyles so that there's equal sacrifice amongst both policymakers, regulators, market players, and everybody. There's too much opulence and ostentation at a time of hunger and desperation.
Yeah, and talking about being honest with the people, because there's the issue of subsidy, both for petrol and for electricity. And I mean, if the government says subsidy is gone, and then, we calculate and find that there's still subsidy, and even Bretton Woods institutions are telling us your government has come back on paying subsidy. And now IMF is saying that inflation might hit 44%. And just a couple of days ago, AFDB had warned that there will be even more protests. Would you say that the government is actually being desperate about its moves to handle this with all of these warnings that we see staring us in the face?
No, I don't think the question is about how desperate government is. It's about how honest. First of all, do you understand the complexity of the problem? And 2, are you honest with the solutions that you're preferring? And 3, do the people believe, even if you're honest, and do the people believe it? It is that disconnection you're seeing out there. And so there has to be some clarity. There has to be some, not just clarity, honesty, and understanding of the complexity of the problems. These problems are not going to go away. We can say all we want to. They will only go away when there's a concerted, comprehensive effort to resolve them. And so what you are seeing today is an economy which is being strangulated. And when you are strangulated, you are being choked, right? The people are being choked, their pockets being choked in their stomachs, and being choked in their respiratory system. That is where anybody in that situation will do anything and everything to get oxygen and to get food and to get fuel. But having said that, I said it from the beginning that subsidies never went anywhere. It was reduced, and of course, I was chastised as being a prophet of doom at that time. Now it has come clear, and everybody has come back to say it 9 months later that subsidies are back. You only come back if you've gone. If you didn't go, then you are still you're locking there. So now let us accept our reality that we are going to sequence this thing. Subsidies, there's subsidies and the use of the proceeds of subsidies. So even if you reduced it, what have you used it for? All right? And how efficient is that use and what is the impact of that use? That is critical. 2, subsidies are only one element and they are reverse taxes. There are a whole lot of things in the economic system, the macroeconomic system, that needs to be in equilibrium. Those things are not easy. They're very abstract. The only way you can understand it, okay, what is the price of egg? You know that in the last 2 days, Olam and Premier Feed said, we are not going to buy maize and sorghum anymore, because if we buy maize and sorghum at these prices, the price of an egg, the tray of eggs of 30 is going to go to 10,000 or 5,000, it's now 4,000 plus. So what are the people doing? People are killing the layers and then just selling the eggs. And so that is a warning of things to come. But I think there's been a reaction. The price of sorghum and maize has actually come down somewhat because the big boys are refusing to buy it. But in the meantime, it has created some shortages of food, eggs, and so on. So it is true that there will be some adjustments. It is true that the people are now demanding good governance. And in economics, once the demand increases, the supply must increase. The demand for good governance means that the supply of good governance and honesty will follow. And you will see that government and policymakers are going to have to supply honesty, they are going to have to supply good governance, and they are going to have to reduce that profile of ostentatious living so that everybody is carrying the burden equally. That is the only way out.
All right, we'll be looking forward to that. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us, Chief Executive Officer of Financial Derivatives Company.
Thank you for having me.